WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. We're now joined by a guy that I was spending a lot of time with this week. That's Keith Sims, former Miami Dolphins player. Keith, Zach Gelb here. How are you?
I'm great, man. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Well, you have a difficult job here. You have to work right after Sid Rosenberg. What's it like working with Sid?
Oh, my goodness. Any of you that know Sid Rosenberg, it's an adventure. No, Sid is a legend in the business and sports talk from New York to South Florida, where we're based out of right now. And I've learned a lot over the last couple months working with Sid Rosenberg.
Best place to eat in New Orleans so far? You've been here for the whole week.
You know, I got to be honest with you, okay?
Izzy told me you don't go out that much.
I am a homebody. I got to be honest. My wife is home right now with the three kids, the three little boys under the age of 3. She loves to go out to great dinners. And she made me promise that I wouldn't do anything without her. So I honestly did not even hit one single restaurant in my time in New Orleans.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I went to Irene's last night. That was fantastic. Nice. Hopefully we go to Emerald's tonight. We're going to the Mike Ditka Super Bowl party, so that should be fun as well. But you went to 3 Pro Bowls, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And the Pro Bowl now, it doesn't have a lot of life to it. I don't tune in to go see the Pro Bowl. Do you think the NFL should still keep it around?
I think they should keep it around, and I hate it the way it is in its current format. You talk to any of the guys that went when I went. We're talking about in the 90s when you had great players. I played with Emmitt Smith and Joe Montana. I was blocked for Joe Montana one year. Troy Aikman. After the Super Bowl is the time for the Pro Bowl. It's a reward of a game. It's not about who wins or loses. It's about the week of reward, getting out there and being one of the best of the best. And when you put it the week before the Super Bowl like they've been doing, you in essence water it down. You got guys in the game that are truly not Pro Bowlers. I actually had General Manager Charlie Castley, who now works for the NFL Network. He was my general manager in my time in Washington. We spoke about that. And I said, if you were a general manager and you got a guy who's now a quote-unquote Pro Bowler, his contract's up like we have in Miami, do you consider him a Pro Bowler when it comes time to negotiate that contract? And he said, absolutely not. That's a farce. So to have those guys in it, I mean, and I understand you're going to have injuries. That's one thing. But when you have the San Francisco 49ers who had 9 Pro Bowlers who couldn't play in the game, it gets a little out of hand.
We're talking to Keith Sims. Does a phenomenal job on 640 Sports down there in Miami. Let's get a quick take on the Dolphins. Year 1, Joe Philbin, what impressed you? Because they did a lot better than most people expected them to do.
Yeah, I think anybody who tuned into Hard Knocks didn't expect too much.
I thought
for
3 wins.
from that Dolphin football team. And I think, you know, when you sat down and you looked at it with the situation with the new quarterback and the new head coach, and was Ryan Tannehill going to play or not, and he ended up starting 16 games for him, I think he made progress. Now, this was the year of rookie quarterback in the NFL, and you had 3 of them ended up being either being voted a Pro Bowl or ended up playing in the Pro Bowl, and the year that Russell Wilson has was incredible, arguably the rookie of the year. So I think Ryan Tannehill had a solid year. I think Miami Dolphins are headed in the right direction, but we talk about it in South Florida all the time. This is the most important offseason in Miami Dolphin history since the year they brought Don Shula to Miami. They are armed with $46 to $48 million in cap space, 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, and Jeff Ireland has been on the hot seat, our general manager, for the last couple of years. If he doesn't take those weaponry and produce wins next year, could be a long offseason for him.
I talked to a lot of former Dolphin players. Channing Crowder is one, and he's not a big fan of Jeff Ireland. Are you a fan of Jeff Ireland? Do you think he is the right man for this job?
I don't know if he's the right man for the job. I think he's positioned himself where he deserves this shot. Here's the dangerous thing. He's put himself in position to really launch this franchise back into relevancy, because it's been irrelevant for the last decade or more. If he screws up, he sets back the Miami Dolphin franchise 4 or 5 years. And that's the gamble that I guess Stephen Ross has decided to take. I understand last year's draft was pretty good. Got some quality players out of it. But if you're not all in with Jeff Ireland, this is such a pivotal offseason for us, all of us Dolphin fans down in South Florida, that it's hard. It's a very polarizing question. Either you're with him or you're against him. There's not a lot of guys like myself that want to take that wait-and-see attitude.
2 more questions because I know you have to run. Ryan Tannehill, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, he's not in that class of Luck, RG3, or Russell Wilson. Do you think he could eventually get to that level with what you saw from this year?
I think that's the question we have to answer. Going into this season, we want to know.
You have to get someone receivers. There's no wide receivers. We could have put you in Hard Knocks and we would have thought you were a wide receiver.
I almost went in there. No. Playmakers, I think that's the number, that's the name that Jeff Ireland has spoken about all this offseason is playmakers, and you've got to surround Ryan Tannehill with some playmakers, and then we'll know the answer to that question. That's the $10 million question. Is Ryan Tannehill the franchise quarterback that Miami Dolphin fans have been looking for since number 13 retired? I don't know the answer to that question. We'll see how the offseason goes.
We're on Radio Row in New Orleans, Super Bowl 47 between the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. Let's say you and your friends, you and your teammates were going up against the San Francisco 49ers pass rush. How would you stop Aldon Smith? That's the last question for me.
Do I got my left tackle, Richmond Webb, next to me?
Sure.
Okay,
How would he go? How would he go up against
that?
him?
Would be no issue. We were great pass blockers. Study film, understand his tendencies, and take away not his first move, but his first and second move. Make him get to his third, fourth, and fifth moves in that, and stay square. I think the art of pass protection has kind of dissipated in the NFL. You really got to get on the same level, pass stunts off, and you got to anticipate. If you don't know what he's going to do before he does it, you got no chance to block a guy like Aldon Smith.
It was great to work alongside you this whole week. Now, let me tell you one thing. When I come down to Boca Raton, Florida, and come into the 640 Sports Studios to visit my good buddy Sid Rosenberg, do not be on jury duty because I'm going to want to see you down there in South Florida.
I can't be on for another year, so you got a whole year.
How much did they pay you? Like, what was it, $38 for jury duty?
I got my check before I left here for the Super Bowl. It was $30.
And you didn't go to a restaurant. It's amazing.
I did not. I had room service, and it was actually pretty good.
Keith Sims, everybody, thanks so much for coming on.
You got it. My pleasure.